They told the neighborhood that I had been fired, snickering, they must be really struggling. But they didn't know I had just been promoted. So I casually mentioned at a barbecue that they were looking for a job. The day their boss called asking if they were quitting, they screamed, "Who started this lie?" I, 42 male, live in a suburb just outside Columbus, Ohio. I've been here for over 10 years. Quiet street. People mow their lawns at the same time. You wave when someone drives by. That kind of place. I work in IT. Started at this tech company downtown over 12 years ago. Worked my way up from help desk to systems lead. I'm not flashy. I go to work, I come home, I keep to myself. But I've always been polite to everyone. Even the annoying ones. Now enter my neighbors, Craig and Dana Miller. Late 40s. Been here for 5 years. They throw block parties, always gossiping on their porch, always pretending they're in charge of the neighborhood. They're the kind of people who'll ask how you are and then spread your answer to 10 other people. We never had a real issue, just some petty stuff. Like Craig once reported my grass being too long when I was out of town. Dana likes to make comments like, "Someone's burning the cheap hot dogs again when I grill." So here's where it starts. I got promoted. Huge deal for me. I went from senior system admin to director level overnight. Way more responsibility. Pay raise. My own team. Felt like everything I'd worked for finally hit. But I didn't tell anyone outside work right away. I'm a quiet guy. I figured I'd share it when it came up naturally. Then things got weird. About a week after the promotion, I started getting strange looks from neighbors. People being oddly nice or overly sympathetic. Tom from down the road told me, "If there's anything you need, man, let us know." I was confused. Then Mrs. Blanchard, who walks her dog past my house every day, stopped me. She goes, "I'm so sorry to hear about the job. Must be tough out there right now." My stomach dropped. "What job?" I asked. She said, "Oh, Craig and Dana mentioned you got laid off. They said your company had cuts and you were part of them. Everyone's been talking." I told her that wasn't true. I'd just been promoted. But she looked so surprised I realized she actually believed them. It wasn't just a rumor, it was being spread like it was fact. That's when I started to put it together. Craig and Dana must have seen me home a bit more than usual that week. I had some time off between roles to get adjusted, so I was home during the day. They took that, twisted it, and told people I was fired. Why? I still don't know. Maybe jealousy. Maybe boredom. But it pissed me off. The worst part? I started hearing people talk like I was struggling. A few of the friendly neighbors were acting like I was now some cautionary tale. Like I'd lost everything. Meanwhile, I was doing better than ever. I didn't lash out. I didn't go door to door correcting people. That's not who I am. I waited. Then came the block barbecue. The Millers were hosting, of course. Everyone was there. The food was bland, the conversations were worse, but I saw my shot. I waited until we were all sitting around, talking about the job market. That's when someone said, "It's crazy out there. Jake, you must have seen how bad it is." Perfect. I laughed and said, "Honestly, not really. I just got promoted. Took a couple days off before I start managing my new team." You could hear forks hitting plates. Everyone went quiet. I could see Dana's fake smile stiffen. Craig looked like someone punched him in the gut. "Oh," Dana said. "Congratulations." I nodded. "Thanks. I heard some weird stuff going around. Glad to clear it up." And that was it. I didn't say more. I let the silence do the rest. But I wasn't done. A week later, I ran into one of Craig's old coworkers at the store. We got to chatting, and he casually mentioned that Craig had been unhappy at work lately. Now, I don't spread gossip, but I do answer questions honestly. So, at the next little gathering, when someone asked if Craig was doing okay, I shrugged and said, "I heard he might be looking for a change. With the way his company's been." I didn't even finish the sentence. Word got around fast. 3 days later, I saw Craig outside pacing on his phone. Loud. Angry. I couldn't hear the full call, but I caught him shouting, "I never said I was quitting. Who started this lie?" That was when I knew it hit. And now, the entire street's dynamic has shifted. No one's sure who to believe anymore. Story's not over yet. After the phone call meltdown, Craig and Dana stopped pretending everything was fine. They stopped waving. They stopped saying hi. They even started pulling into their driveway real fast, like they didn't want to make eye contact. Dana would walk her dog at weird hours just to avoid passing my house. But I wasn't done. You see, when people lie about you first and then get mad when they're the subject of gossip, it tells you something. They think they're untouchable. They think they control the narrative. They don't expect it to come back to them. So when I saw the note, I knew this wasn't over. One morning, I go out to check my mailbox and there it is. A plain white envelope. No return address. Just my name. Inside? A single sheet of paper with these words typed in 12-point font. Next time you feel like spreading lies, think about who really knows what you do at night. No name. No signature. I laughed out loud. First of all, I don't do anything at night. I eat leftovers, play Xbox, and sleep by 10. Second of all, this was a threat. A weak one. But a threat nonetheless. So I took a picture of it and sent it to my buddy Mike. He works in security at my old building. We went to college together. I asked if he could help me set up some discrete cameras. By that evening, I had 2 little motion-activated cams up, one facing my front porch, one facing the driveway. The thing about Craig and Dana is they're cowards. All bark. All backyard whispering. But I wanted proof in case things escalated. And oh boy, it did. 3 days later, I get a small Amazon box at my door. No label. Just left there like it was hand-delivered. I didn't think much of it, figured maybe someone dropped off something by mistake. I open it. Inside, a single roll of toilet paper and a post-it note. Heard you might need this since you're full of sh*t. Who sends that? Seriously? Now I'm pissed. And here's the thing, I had the footage. The camera caught someone walking up to the door just after midnight, wearing a hoodie pulled tight, trying to avoid the lens. But not well enough. The walk, the way they stand, the little limp. It was Craig. Busted. But instead of confronting him right away, I waited. I live in a neighborhood with an HOA. Not a terrible one, but still, they send those passive-aggressive letters about trash bins and lawn height. Craig is on the HOA board. Now here's where it gets interesting. Every year the HOA has a little election to vote in or renew board members. Most people don't even show up. But this time I did. I went to the meeting. Brought cookies. Brought lawn chairs. Talked to every single person who came. Even the quiet ones. Then I asked questions. Like, why are the same people always on the board? Can anyone run? How come I never see announcements about when the meetings are? People listened. And I submitted my name. You should have seen Dana's face when they announced I was running for a spot on the HOA board. She looked like someone just scratched her car. Craig looked like he was choking on his water bottle. Guess what? I got in. By a landslide. And once I was on the board, I started looking into past complaints. Turns out over the last 2 years, there were anonymous complaints submitted about me, saying I left trash out, that I played loud music, even that I had suspicious visitors. All false. And all from the same handwriting. You guessed it. Dana. I brought it up at the next HOA meeting. Loudly. In front of the entire room, I said, I've discovered a pattern of fake complaints against me. I'll be submitting these to the board for investigation. I take this kind of targeting seriously. They didn't say a word. 2 weeks later, Craig's car window got smashed. He claimed it was vandalism. But people started whispering maybe it was payback. Maybe someone didn't like the way he treated neighbors. Maybe he'd made the wrong enemies. Suddenly Craig and Dana weren't walking their dog anymore. They weren't on the porch. And then I noticed something. Their house was listed on Zillow. Yup. For sale. No announcement. No open house. Just quietly trying to get out. But before they could sneak away, something else happened. And that's when things got really messy. So now Craig and Dana's house is quietly listed for sale. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, they're trying to escape with their tail between their legs. But like everything else they do, they didn't plan it right. Because here's the twist. Right around the same time they listed the house, a new family moved in across the street, real nice people. The dad, Marcus, is a contractor. First week he's there, we chat on the curb. Super friendly. I help him back his trailer into the driveway. Nothing big. A week later, he stops me and goes, hey, were the folks across from you always that weird? I said, define weird. He laughs, then shows me a folded piece of paper. Slipped into his mailbox. Just a heads up, your neighbor across the street, Jake, has had problems with the HOA and isn't the most stable person. We're moving soon, but wanted to warn you. Friendly neighbors. I stared at it. Dead silent. Then I asked, do you mind if I keep this? He handed it to me with zero hesitation. Game. On. Remember, I'm on the HOA board now. And as part of the board, I can request a hearing for neighbor disputes or concerns, especially if something affects community reputation. But instead of doing that first, I decided to go a different route. I printed out the letter, blew it up onto a poster board, and put it right in my front yard. Yup, right next to my mailbox. It read, "Anonymous letters are for cowards. If you have something to say, put your name on it." This one came from Craig and Dana. Any questions? Ask me directly. The neighborhood lost its mind. People slowed their cars when driving by. One neighbor, George, retired military, zero tolerance for BS, knocked on my door and said about damn time someone stood up to them. It was beautiful. But that wasn't even the best part. 2 days after the sign went up, I got a letter in the mail. From a lawyer. Not even a real law firm, just a buddy of Craig's who did divorce law. It was a cease and desist. Full of empty legal threats. If you do not remove the defamatory signage within 48 hours, we will pursue further action. I laughed. Then I took the letter and taped it next to the first sign. New sign now read, "They sent a cease and desist." Still no apology. Still anonymous. Still cowards. And right below it I added, "Don't lie if you can't handle truth." That weekend, the Millers finally showed up to an HOA meeting. First time in weeks. Craig looked like he hadn't slept. Dana wore sunglasses inside. They didn't sit with the board like usual. They sat in the back row, trying to look like victims. Then, during the open forum part of the meeting, Dana stood up and said, and I swear I'm not making this up, "We just want to move on. We feel like we've been unfairly targeted and slandered, and we're asking the HOA to step in and stop these personal attacks." Dead. Silence. Then I stood up. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even look directly at them. I just said, lies were spread about me. Anonymous letters were left in mailboxes. Packages were delivered to harass me. When I addressed it publicly, the people responsible sent legal threats instead of apologies. If we want this neighborhood to be a safe place, maybe we should start by asking who's been creating the most drama and why. The room was ice cold. Then George, the retired guy, just said, "Amen." Meeting adjourned. 3 days later, I get an email. From someone I've never met. A woman. Let's call her Melissa. Subject line, "You don't know me, but I used to live next to them." In the email, she explains that she and her husband lived next to Craig and Dana back in Indiana before they moved to Ohio. She'd found me through a community Facebook group after seeing the name Dana Miller pop up again. And she tells me they did the same thing there. Gossip. Harassment. Fake complaints to the HOA. Passive-aggressive notes. One of the families on their old street even moved because they couldn't take it anymore. She attached scans of old complaints they'd submitted under fake names. She even sent me screenshots of messages where Dana was bragging about getting rid of problem people. It was a full pattern. A trail. They'd done this before. Multiple times. And now, thanks to the internet, it was coming full circle. So after I get that email from Melissa, the woman who lived next to Craig and Dana in Indiana, I know I'm holding a full deck of cards. I have a pattern of toxic behavior from them. Proof they tried to slander me. Video of Craig on my porch. A fake lawyer letter. And now? A freaking paper trail from their old neighborhood showing they've done this before. At this point, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm locked in. So I do one last thing. I message the admin of our local Facebook community group. I ask if it's okay to post a warning about neighbor behavior. Keeping it civil, no name calling, just facts. She gives me the green light, and I drop a bomb. I post a very simple message. To the new neighbors and the ones who've been here for years, if you've ever felt targeted, lied about, or harassed by anonymous notes or fake complaints, you're not alone. This behavior has happened before and not just here. I have documented proof. Please message me directly if you've had a similar experience. It goes viral in the group. People start coming forward. A woman down the street says someone once tried to get her dog reported as dangerous when it barked once. Another guy says he was told he wasn't cutting his lawn right. Someone else claims they got a warning about suspicious activity after their teen had a friend over. All of them? Anonymous complaints. Everyone's eyes are turning to Craig and Dana now. And then, the local CBS affiliate messaged me. Turns out one of the community members works in their newsroom. She sees the post. She calls me, says they've done stories on HOA abuse and neighbor harassment before. She asks if I'd be willing to talk. I say absolutely. They come to my house. Camera crew. Microphones. The whole deal. They blur my address, don't use last names. I keep it clean. No insults. Just the facts. I show them the letters. The packages. The email trail from Indiana. I let them see the footage of Craig walking up to my porch with the TP box. They're stunned. The reporter says this is one of the clearest patterns of coordinated neighbor bullying I've seen. The segment airs 2 nights later. Prime time. No names are said, but everyone in our neighborhood knows who it is. Dana and Craig's house listing disappears off Zillow the next day. They took it down. They probably figured no one would buy it now. Not with their faces on TV. Not with neighbors watching them from every porch and lawn chair like hawks. 1 week later, I get another anonymous letter. This time, no threats. No insults. Just 3 words scribbled in shaky pen, "You won. Congrats." No return address. But I knew it was Dana. The handwriting matched a fake complaint from before. And then they were gone. Moving truck showed up before sunrise 2 days later. Didn't say goodbye to anyone. Not a word. Not a wave. Vanished. I wasn't perfect either. Yeah, I never started it. I didn't lie. But I'll admit, once I had proof, I loved rubbing it in. The signs, the Facebook post, the HOA call out. I went hard. Maybe too hard. I caught myself watching them move out through the blinds like I was watching a show I paid for. And that's when it hit me, they tried to ruin me, sure. But I could have handled it quieter. Still, I don't regret it. Because for once, the bullies didn't win. The manipulators got exposed. And I got the last word.